my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome to it. It's your Thursday morning on your Feel Good Breakfast Show Express right here on SABC3. So good to be hanging out with you. Yes, especially that we're nearing the weekend as well.
Oh, yes, of course.
So right now, some baby talk, yes. And it can be hard to manage and pinpoint what's making your baby cry excessively. Now, colic is characterized as prolonged excessive crying or troubling unsettled periods in the first few months of your little one's life. And it can be quite a concern for parents as it can be caused by a combination of factors. And on today's Baby Talk, we're joined by Occupational Therapist Meg Faure, who has promised to help us figure out what causes colic and how to manage it. Meg, thank you very much for joining us. Good to have you on the couch.
Yeah, always to have your advice in the listening ear.
We're gonna unpack colic in more detail a little bit later on, but I need to ask you this. Do we know what is colic and what causes it?
Yeah, look, we do have a sense of it, but it's a very strange thing because colic actually means abdominal discomfort.
Oh.
But the truth about it is that it actually isn't all about the abdomen. It's not all about the tummy. We just think it is because when babies are crying, they pull up their legs and they go blue in the face and they go purple and it looks like, oh, they're very, very sore. But actually, it isn't all to do with their tummy. So it is a bit of a misnomer.
Okay.
Yeah, and of course, I just always wish that you just tell me what was wrong, but that's another segment of childhood development. When does fussing commonly start with babies and when can you expect it to abate?
So most of us have this 2-week honeymoon period. So we come home from hospital, baby is good as gold. We phone our friends, we say, I've got one of the good ones. Yes, so good. Sleeping through. He's like going for 4-hour stretches. And then suddenly at 10 days to 14 days, to about 2 weeks, they start to cry. And it's, they kind of flip a coin. And it really, that's when it starts. And then what's amazing about it is that it just completely disappears almost as quickly at about 12 to 14 weeks. So that early infant crying is typically from 2 weeks to about 12 or 14 weeks. And then it's over.
So just a good 10 weeks that you need to just knuckle down.
Just 10 weeks.
Be strong.
Just
Be
10
strong.
weeks. How common is it for babies to be fussy babies in that first period? Is it common? Do you get babies that are miracle babies and don't get the whole fussy periods?
No, we do. We call them the settled babies, and they are actually dream babies. So I always say to moms, if your baby makes it to 3 weeks and they haven't got colic, you've got a settled baby, you're going to be okay, but don't say anything before 2 weeks. But it's about 20% of babies have real colic. So that's that kind of 3 hours of crying. And the definition of colic is 3 hours of crying, 3 days of a week, for more than 3 weeks, and usually under 3 months. So it's called the Vessel's rule of threes. So usually it's about 20% of babies that'll have that.
Do you want to just repeat that again, just maybe for the viewers out there? So to define it again, how much?
So it's called the Vessel's rule of threes. It's 3 hours a day, which is a killer.
3 hours a day. 3
days of the week, for 3 weeks of a stretch, under 3 months of age. And that's our classic colic period and the amount of time you can expect.
Yeah.
If there's any parents out there that's battling with this right now, I'm with you because my boy was proper colic. For 3 months, dude, it was rough. And it's really taxing on, thank you, on a relationship. Our relationship took a lot of strain as well, you know.
Well, it did. It really did. Because I noticed when you came into work, you were more stressed than usual.
Yes, no, I did. You know, we didn't greet friendly anymore.
Our lines are also open. 0214309881. We welcome your calls with your questions or comments on this topic. Meg, what are some of the other more common reasons why babies cry as often as they do?
Yeah, so as a new parent, and you would have gone through this, you immediately think, is my baby going to survive? Are they ill? Do I need to get them to the doctor? And there are some things that are quite important that, you know, if there's certain things that are going on and your baby's crying a lot, you need to get them to the doctor. So if the umbilical cord, for instance, is red and smelly and oozing, and they are fussing this much, you need to see a doctor. If they've stopped feeding well, so they were feeding quite well and now suddenly they're listless, tired, not feeding very well and crying a lot, you need to get them to the doctor. And if a baby under 3 months of age runs a fever at all, you need to get them to a doctor. So those are things where you're thinking, this is not colic, this is get to the doctor immediately. Because the main thing with colic that we know is that it passes and it is quite innocent. It's disruptive, but it's not going to kill your baby. But certainly if you've got any of those other things I spoke about, then it's not colic, you need to get to see the doctor.
Oh, wow. All right, some great tips, and we'll continue our conversation very shortly. In the meantime, our lines will remain open. 0214309881. Give us a call. It's Baby Talk.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Well, Welcome back to it. Your Feel Good Breakfast show is live, large and in charge on this Thursday morning, and always so good to have you with us. It's baby talk time, and Meg Faure is here to join us to unpack all things about babies being fussy, the difference between that and having a colic baby, and how to understand what is going on with your child. We also have opened our lines on 0214309881, and that's why Talia is on the line, calling us all the way from Sea Point right here. Hey, Talia.
Hi there, good morning. I've just got a comment. I had a 4-year-old, and I'm actually feeding my 11-week-old at the moment, but my 4-year-old daughter had colic.
Yes.
And it can really be soul-destroying as a mother.
Yeah, sure.
And I just wanted to make the comment that mothers who have babies who have colic, don't feel bad. Try not to take it personally.
Yeah.
And if you can, get help from your parents or your friends or whatever when the baby hits that colicky. I know we were 4 to 6 every day.
Ooh.
We knew, and we would wait until 4 o'clock would hit, and every day without fail she would start screaming at about 4 o'clock. And it lasted exactly 10 weeks. And I know 10 weeks sounds like a short time, but when
No.
you have a colicky baby, you feel like it's forever. So try and get friends and family and try and go out the house at that time, because it really can cause much distress for parents.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that call. I think it's a good thing to know that you are part of a community of people that are experiencing this. You're not alone.
Yeah. No, and she really alludes to the tough part of the emotional aspect of it. And I didn't speak about that before, but when you're the parent pacing the floor, 10 weeks is a very, very long time. She also talks about support systems. I mean, you have to get support, because there's that moment where you actually just want to shake the baby. And in fact, shaken baby syndrome is extremely risky, and it is completely linked to colic. So we know that you can get so frustrated that you just have this baby in your hands and you just want to give them a little shake, and that can cause brain damage. So that's the whole link between colic and shaken baby syndrome, and it really is dangerous. So get support.
Okay, I think let's start trying to unpack what is colic, what causes colic, how long does it last? Is there any kind of things that you should worry about as a parent once you think that your baby is going through a period of colic?
Yeah, so as to what causes colic, we're not entirely certain, but we have a couple of clues. First of all, less than 5% of babies with colic have an organic cause. So in other words, they have some sort of medical issue. Then there's a very small percentage of colic babies who actually are reacting to milk. And so sometimes moms have to go for a non-dairy based milk or cut out certain things in their own diet. That's also not very common. Sometimes babies are lactose intolerant, and that's very common because it's not a lactose intolerance that goes for life.
Yeah.
It's early infancy lactose intolerance. Babies just don't have enough lactase to break down the lactose in the mum's milk, and that's even in breast milk, and so it makes their tummies frothy. But for me, one of the biggest reasons for colic is overtiredness and overstimulation. And so if babies don't have regular sleeps in the day, they become overstimulated, and the immaturity of their brain, rather the immaturity of the gut, is actually what causes colic. And that's by far the majority of the babies who have colic are just really overstimulated by just being alive in the world.
Wow, and the absorption of all this new stimulus from all around, sounds, visuals, textures to touch, taste.
But I mean, as a grown-up, you tend to think like, no, it's tummy ache, it's what it is. You don't think about the stimulation part.
So, I mean, it really is important then that parents get their little ones to sleep regularly in the day. And that's, for me, I mean, if there's only one tip, there are lots of different tips for colic, but if there's only one that parents walk away with is get them to sleep regularly. So a baby under 6 weeks of age can only be awake for 45 minutes before they actually need another sleep. And if you overshoot that, and so they're awake for 2 or 3 hours at a stretch, they're much more likely to be colicky in the evening. So get your baby down regularly in the day for sleep. So that would be really just a simple strategy that mums could use and dads could use to try and prevent colic.
Plus, it helps them grow as well.
It is.
Very important. Meg, thank you so much. Always a pleasure to have your time and expertise. We really do appreciate it. Thanks also to our callers who engaged in the conversation. And that was Baby Talk today.